Dear friends and co-workers, it's a privilege to speak to you today on my life's work in ballet and to delve deeper into the universality of arts and dance. It's really been a true challenge to focus all that I would like to share with you on this subject, and perhaps this process will eventually lead to a book, but for now, I hope to inspire and energize the group pool of thought. There is a saying from the book of Proverbs, where there is no vision, the people will perish. And so I'd like to begin by the repetition of the Tibetan's future vision for the arts from externalization of the hierarchy. As he states, the efforts or the task of hierarchy and the Christ is to stimulate the aspiration in the hearts of men so that human receptivity to the good, the beautiful, and the true may be greatly increased. These energies will bring in the new creative era, which will sweep into expression as soon as world tension has subsided. Then men will be free to think and to create new ideals. Then they will bring into manifestation in words, in music, and in sculptured forms the new revelation and the new world which the coming Christ will inaugurate. Repetition and repeating is a ritual very much a part of a disciple's life and also plays an important role in the arts and in particular dance. As former principal dancers with the New York City Ballet, my husband Bart Cook and I travel to many diverse countries and cultures like Russia and Italy, repeating and teaching the ballets we once danced. We are actually called répétiteurs, which is the French word for one who repeats. We prepare the current generation of dancers to, in essence, invoke and evoke the great masterworks of choreographers George Balanchine and Jerome Robbins. Using seventh and fourth ray energies, along with music, beauty, and color, dance is a powerful tool in building up the etheric plane, thus vitalizing not only the viewing audience, but the surrounding environments as well. This is a photo of Bart teaching in Tbilisi, Georgia. You can see the intensity there. They're on the stage in a rehearsal. This past February, when I traveled to Milan to teach Balanchine's beautiful ballet called Jewels, Italy, with its fourth-ray personality and sixth-ray soul, had much to reveal about transcendence through beauty and art. As I worked with the dancers, I strove to align the art form of this dance to my cultural roots, to the many forerunners of Italian artists and disciples, and in this way, working to bring fresh and vital energy from the subjective plane into the group experience. Dance may be perhaps the most inclusive of all the arts, involving the physical body as the instrument and as an exponent of the seventh ray, providing a true midway point between the spiritual plane and matter. The Tibetan has told us that true occult art is of a revelatory nature. He states this conveys a different sense of beauty, color, and inspiration, clothed in those forms which reveal ideas. Leonardo da Vinci, who is mentioned by DK several times in the Alice Bailey writings, is a probable fourth-ray initiate. He worked in Milan during the years of 1482 to 1499, and this is where his painting of the Last Supper resides. In her unfinished autobiography, Alice Bailey remarks, Leonardo da Vinci's great picture of the communion in the upper room is the great symbol of the Aquarian age, for we shall sit down together under the loving direction of Christ when brotherhood will be established and men will be banded together in the bonds of divine relationship. The old barriers between man and nation will, during the next 2,000 years, slowly disappear. The Last Supper reveals a truth and an idea. The table has long been a symbol of community and sharing, and it is interesting to note that the Last Supper hangs above a doorway, an occult symbol of access. The arts, through their beauty, can be shocking and render us silent. Through abstraction, they touch us on the deeper soul level and can reveal aspects of the plan. The fourth ray of harmony through conflict in this work is most evident. We are told that universality is the keynote of the Aquarian Age, and that until the year 1400 AD, the emphasis of the one initiator was on soul contact, but that moving forward, the focus has now been on the spiritual triad and the Antakarana. That universality is about a measure of monadic flow. So a good question to consider might be, how can the arts truly manifest monadic flow, thereby serving hierarchy and humanity? A forerunner of the Renaissance, Michelangelo, literally brought into manifestation Italy's keynote, "I carved the paths," through his poignant sculpture, the Pietà. I can still remember seeing it as a child at the World's Fair here in New York and being so moved by the realness of it and the expression of contemplative compassion in the Blessed Mother. The World's Fair introduced many people to varied cultures and arts of countries that they might never have had the chance to visit. DK mentions the Cathedral of Milan, the Duomo, as an example of our great future spiritual possibilities. It is indeed a majestic architectural structure, and if we could but see it with our etheric vision, it would reveal to us the beauty of its lighted house, infused with color and surrounded by the devas. Sacred sites are national treasures, many of which are at great risk today. Recently, speaking at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Ban Ki-moon, issued a strong call to action to stop the destruction of Syria's cultural heritage. He spoke on the arts, saying, "It reminds us of our common humanity. The sense of shared destiny is essential to addressing global problems." Is the Teatro alla Scala. Looking at it from the inside as we do on the stage, you can perhaps feel its similarities to a church. For indeed, the true potential of the great opera houses of the world today is through the live arts to invoke the energies of ordered beauty in time and space. One occult source we have as an example of music's vast spiritual effects is in Geoffrey Hodson's book, Music Forms. The color plates depict his clairvoyant observations of what is constructed on the etheric plane through musical performance. For example, Haydn's Emperor's Hymn produces the effect of radiation instead of fixed form. And further, he states, indeed, a lofty ruling deva was linked to the form during the performance of the work. Great art, as it reveals truth, can transcend boundaries and touch every soul. Culture and the arts do provide a common sharing of our one humanity and reveal the deeper essence and beauty that lies within us all. In 2010, Bart and I co-founded the Apollo Arts Initiative, a not-for-profit organization dedicated to fostering cultural enrichment and wellness for the individual and the community in its deepest holistic sense. The arts need to be experienced and expressed without the adverse effects of materialism and selfish interests. We believe that the value of the arts cannot be underestimated as a lighted way to greater unity, appreciation, and understanding of all cultures and peoples. Why Apollo? Apollo, the Greek sun god, was trained in the arts and sciences by the 9 muses to ignite his own creativity. He developed into the epitome of beauty and the leader of the muses and director of their choir. Beauty has a resounding effect on our environment and provides solutions we have yet to imagine. In 1928, Apollo was the theme of the first ballet collaboration between Russians composer Igor Stravinsky and George Balanchine. Still performed today, it was groundbreaking both artistically and culturally. Stravinsky and Balanchine had fled from the Russian Revolution into Paris and joined forces with Sergei Diaghilev's Ballet Russe and other Russian artists familiar to us, like Nijinsky and painter-peacemaker Nicholas Roerich. Roerich's painting of Spring became scenery for another important ballet for the Ballet Russe, The Rite of Spring, and is still reconstructed all over the world by fellow dance and esoteric co-workers Millicent Hodson and Kenneth Archer. Roerich would also travel to New York, where he established the Master Institute of the United Arts and the School of the Roerich Museum. His Peace Pact and Banner of Peace were created to ensure the protection of cultural treasures and institutions from the atrocities of war. On one of our many trips to Tbilisi, Georgia, after its liberation from Russia, we taught the ballet Apollo to the State Ballet of Georgia. It is a country deeply steeped in Christian traditions, and so the dancers are very committed to their work. Bart is currently visiting there by invitation of the United States Embassy to produce an evening of dance to commemorate George Balanchine, who is considered Georgian by birth. Not surprisingly, in this seat of ancient culture, we found one of the most beautiful dancers to portray Apollo. Lasha Kozashvili, who then recently immigrated to the United States. He is now a principal dancer with the Boston Ballet, where this coming week I will be working with him once more on the ballet Jewels. Dance is certainly a universal language that transcends cultural boundaries. Depicted so beautifully the mastery and divine qualities latent in man. At the end of the ballet, Apollo leads the three muses back up the stairs to Mount Olympus. So in a way, Apollo could be seen as a divine archetype expressing God transcendent and God immanent. And when these two are integrated, our eternal beauty stands revealed. In closing today, may I repeat this quote taken from Agni Yoga, given to us by the Master Morya, and revealed through the writings of Helena Roerich. May it strengthen our group service. According to the teachings of Plato, music should not be understood in the narrow sense of music alone, but as participation in all the harmonious arts, in singing, in poetry, in painting, in sculpture, in architecture, in speech, and finally in all manifestations of sound. Musicality is expressed. In Hellas, a ceremony to all the muses was performed. Dance and all rhythmic movement served the cosmos. Much is spoken about beauty, but the importance of harmony is little understood. Beauty is an uplifting concept, and each offering to beauty is an offering of equilibrium of cosmos. Everyone who expresses music in himself sacrifices not for himself, but for others, for cosmos. Thank you all. Namaste.
Okay, yeah? You can leave it there. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Well, I'm sure that you have some questions or comments for Maria that you'd like to share. No. One thing about Apollo, Maria, did you, is there some sort of spiritual teaching with that initiative? Or is it just conveyed through dance and more symbolically?
No, I think what's important now is, not unlike what Steve was mentioning yesterday, is creating those small seed groups. So we're presenting really a thought form, which I hope I express somewhat. And that thought form is expressed through the Apollo Arts Initiative. And then we have done exoteric things like teaching. Writing and speaking is very helpful to solidify that. Supporting local artists, like-minded artists, is very helpful. But I think the Agni Yoga teachings, the example of Nicholas Roerich, and the Tibetans' work, and then just trying to infuse that subjectively when we have the chance. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions?
I think like some of balance
Just
choreography.
Daniel's just coming. It won't be a sec. There he is.
Thank you. I think some of Balanchine and like Mark Morris today, their choreography is sort of is invocative. It invokes certain ritualistic energies into play and it affects the audience just in a different way than music does, but still affects. And I think the use of the body as the primary instrument is wonderful.
Definitely.
Daniel? Michelle?
Maria, do you have a sense that the incoming seventh ray is impacting dance? It's such a ritual, rich bringing together. I'm wondering if you sense some strengthening or enrichment or something.
Yes, I'm certainly hoping that the connection between the seventh ray and dance today will come together at some point. At this point, I think it's very unconscious, and I think that's what we're trying to do. I think the more we make that alignment conscious, the dancers are very gifted now, almost too much. It's out of balance in a way, and so we try to bring them back into that balance so that. But I do think as the seventh ray comes in and there's more Davic interaction, that will be wonderful.
Any other thoughts? Yes, Emmanuel.
In the Agni Yoga series of books, the book Heart, there's a statement there that the heart is not the abode of idols, but it is an international organ. So we are all carrying within us an international organ. One of the prevalent illnesses in the world today is heart problems, because we have dedicated the energy of the heart to the acquisitions of idols, and we've forgotten its international nature of the heart, which is to share. And it is through this sharing that we demonstrate our one humanity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I am presently studying to be an art therapist, and it was a calling from soul, something that I had wanted to do, and I finally decided to start doing that, and last month I got a calling to go to the full moon meditation and then this. And I could see how the two are going to be integrated, and it's just all falling in place for me.
Good. Lovely. Anybody else? No? Yeah.
Maria,
Oops.
Steve?
Do you have any thoughts about either a particular dance company that you notice as being something that we should be watching, or perhaps particular dancers? You've mentioned the dancer from Georgia you work with, but any signs of the new dance that you can sort of point to that we could start looking at the web and getting to know a little bit?
Certainly. Well, recently we worked in Pennsylvania, which is very local, but at the Pennsylvania Ballet. And I was wondering, maybe perhaps because they're somewhat protected, that they're not in the mainstream. You know, like La Scala was a very strange experience and very glamored. But here, in this little Philadelphia, was this little jewel of a company. And they just actually, you might catch it this month still. It was just on PBS. It was a special program just on this company. And we just noticed that the dancers were given the ability there to be very free with their expression and very nurtured. It was a very nurturing environment, which we don't always find. So the dancers are very sensitive creatures, and so they're trying to be that way for the audience and for the energies. And so here we felt they were very much supported in being open, and so that opening was giving a very honest. They were doing Balanchine, and they were giving very honest portrayals of the work. So I thought Pennsylvania was wonderful, actually. Yeah.
It's a very disciplined environment, isn't it? They work you really hard and many hours of practice.
Yeah, it's unfortunately still unbalanced because of the demand, the commercial demand, and that's why we're trying to talk about it needs to be where that isn't the emphasis. And I don't know when that will happen, but that would be a nice thing that would happen for us. So.
Well, thank you, Maria.
Yes,
Thank you very
welcome.
much.
I thank you.